Thank you so much, Dubravka Đedović, for being here, Minister for Energy. I want to really understand properly how does this conversation happen in Serbia. So maybe you can give us an insight on what are the challenges and what are the opportunities when it comes to Serbia and the energy transition.
Thank you very much, and very pleased to be here and to address all the audience and to be part of very interesting discussions both today and yesterday. When it comes to the green transition of Serbia, the starting point is twofold. One is that we are part of the energy community of the European Union, which means that we are integrating in the energy community of the EU as if we were the member state. In the parallel, we are negotiating the accession to the EU. But on the energy sector side, we are transporting all the EU directives without delay, which brings us to actually our ambition and target to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to increase energy efficiency, and to increase the share of renewable energy in our energy mix. Our starting point on the other side is not so optimistic, because we have been traditionally the coal-based energy country, with also a very high potential in hydro, which we have utilized for the past 60 and 70 years, and we plan to continue to explore it more on the hydro side. On the wind and solar integration, we have managed to integrate some 550 megawatts of wind and solar so far, and we have a big ambition to triple that figure in the next 3 years. How we are going to do that? Simply by stimulating financially or giving the financial security to private investors through auctions, through certain hedging of prices, electricity prices, and giving them predictability, stimulating further investments into our energy mix. We need to, of course, ensure the transition is just, and there we are really partnering with countries such as Germany, who has gone through the transition, and also being aware that we need to make our transition system stable and not endanger it. So on one side, as of course Europe is facing the energy security, we are facing it too. So we need to ensure the energy security in our country, but at the same time, of course, be ambitious when it comes to the green transition and transition to green energy. Why is this also very important for us? From FDI, foreign direct investment perspective, Serbia attracts more than 60% of all foreign direct investments of the Western Balkans, which is approximately a market of 19 million people. And we want to continue doing this. And of course, for investors, it's very important to know that they can rely on the green energy, and we want to give them that assurance. Currently, we have reached the EU target of 27% of renewable share, which was the target for 2020, and we are moving towards a new target of the European Union of 2030 target, which is close to 40% of renewable energy share in our mix. This is ambitious, but we will be equally ambitious and at the same time realistic of what can we achieve through mainly private sector investments, but also public sector investments that we are working on as well.
This is interesting as far as the investments that you've mentioned and also the ambition, and then what plays into it. How can job creation be maintained and also the economic growth of the country? So how do these factors play into moving to a more sustainable energy source?
Well, of course, we have regions that are dependent on coal mining still. And this is similar in Germany, I am sure, and in other countries of the EU that have been through that transition. But Serbia is also very rich in critical raw materials. And I see the opportunity there from mining coal, for example, or other, we are also very rich in copper, for example, to mining and transit really, and create job opportunities in the critical raw materials, which are very important for the energy transition, which are very important for green transition. Serbia has one of the largest deposits of lithium and borat. And this is an opportunity that we need to look into further and explore further, because it's important for Europe, because it's important for European partnership, because we have heard in also yesterday opening speeches that this is something that Europe needs to be very careful about and plan looking forward for the next 20 to 30 years, because we need critical raw materials for renewable energy sources. And this is where I see the opportunity, and where we need to transit from carbon intensive and fossil fuel intensive mining, for example, to some new and raw materials that are equally important and that are also being mined. But at the same time, the technology development gives perspective for creation of jobs. Of course, the economic growth, and as I mentioned, foreign direct investments have big impact on that. So to provide investors with green energy at the same time, our economic growth has been solid. We had economic growth last year of 2.3%. We are projecting this year 2.5%. And this is compared to the EU average of below 1, or EU 19 average below 1, quite promising. In that context, I see the opportunity for jobs, for people really to make new skills. And this is the stimulus that we need to help them as a government. For that, of course, we need financial resources. On that end, as we have heard today in opening speeches, financial instruments need to be available. Financing needs to be available. Multilateral development financial institutions need to change the approach and be more flexible and really support the transition. And this is all partners of ours that we are working in our country to really stimulate the job transition, and that would bring us to greener and healthier economy with equally promising economic growth that we are projecting in the future.
Thank you so much. To briefly round it up, maybe if it's possible in like 3 or 4 words, what could other countries learn? As the minister responsible for energy in Serbia, what could other countries learn from what Serbia has already done or is doing? Is there certain things where you say, I think other countries could take notes?
Definitely, we are working, and we have been working on responsible mining, as we are a country very rich in that process. Mainly copper, where we are now opening the new melt facility according to all EU standards. We have managed through feed-in tariffs 5 years ago to stimulate investments in green energy, mostly wind, and we are happy and we are sharing that experience with neighboring countries in particular. And we are now going through the changes in the renewable energy law in order to advocate energy storage facilities, and to introduce that responsibility also on private investor side. Of course, we need to share risks, and we will be careful about that. But this will be, I believe, the first step in that direction. So promoting energy storage, which is very important for energy transition, and we will be among the first ones in the region to do that. I believe it is the step in the right direction, although, of course, the legislation cannot be perfect. The countries of the Western Europe have been developing it around renewable energy for the past 15 years. We have been doing that for a bit shorter period of time, but I do believe in the prospects of energy storage, and of course all the green technologies that I hope we will be able to attract some of that foreign direct investments into our country.
Thank you so much. Responsible mining amongst some of the things that other countries can learn from, according to Minister for Energy of Serbia, Dubravka Đedović. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to be talking to you.